I hope, for Liverpool's sake, they've learned their lesson with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because Trent Alexander-Arnold was obviously going to be moving to Real Madrid. But Liverpool thought, this man is homegrown. He's not leaving us on a free. No way. And they decided not to sell him the year prior to them winning the league with Trent. But the big thing was, Trent ended up leaving no matter what. So now, this is the thing. Liverpool have the same situation. Ibrahima Konate is on the same move right now. Contract ends after this season. Liverpool want 50 million. Real Madrid are willing to offer between 20 to 25 million. But they're happy to wait till next season when they could avoid that 20 to 25 million that they're willing to offer. So, in hindsight, it's going to happen again if Liverpool don't get on their toes. And to be honest, 25 to 30 million, it sounds fair to sell them. Honestly, that's better than nothing. That's better than having a Trent 2.0. And Real Madrid, at the moment, need him more than Liverpool do, because Real Madrid are going to be stuck with Højsund and then possibly Militao with no ACLs, Rudiger, who's older and more injury prone, Alaba, who's injury prone, Asensio, who, Xavi Alonso is clearly not fond of because he's desperately looking for another center back, but on a free for some reason. It seems like Mosquera for 13 million was a bit too high of a price. But anyways, Liverpool, if I were them, I would just sell them. Better to get that than nothing. Now, Liverpool already have, some sort of setup plan for Van Dijk, because Van Dijk is getting up there in age. He's getting close to 40 now. So, they went out and signed 6'5", 18-year-old Giovanni Leone. This man is an absolute unit. Manhandle Lukaku. And this is Lukaku who came, in the season of winning a Serie A with Napoli. So, to me, this is a great signing. He's going to develop well. He's coming from the Serie A, which is one of the best defensive leagues in the world, if not the best. This lad can definitely, come into the league, into the Premier League, and learn a lot from Van Dijk. Van Dijk, at the end of the day, is one of the greatest defenders the Premier League's ever seen. We got to give him that respect, and to be able to, have this 6'5" absolute unit, similar to Van Dijk and build at 18 years old, get to learn from Van Dijk. That's a really great thing for him, and he's also going to, in my opinion, develop into a great lad. Now, Van Dijk, you got his cover. You sold Kwanzaa. Now, Konate, do you have the cover there? Do you want to have a situation that Arsenal's had where they had to, absolutely come in and have, Rob Holding or Callum Chambers, Kieran Tierney, poor center back options because your guys are getting injured? You don't want to do that. Now, for Liverpool, I believe, instead of prioritizing going after Isak, who's going to cost you close to 150 at this point, might as well go out there and spend a little bit more cash on another defender. Solidify the foundation. Chiesa, who you barely played last season, literally today, came in, scored the winning goal, was absolutely monumental for your last-minute win against Bournemouth. You still have Salah. You still have Gakpo. Ekitike scored today on his debut. Tons of options. You got Dominic and Wirtz that can play on the sides if needed, and then you can have Gravenberg back in the midfield, or even Endo. So, Liverpool, in my opinion, have to prioritize defense. You got your fullback sorted. Now it's time for those center backs to get sorted. You've got one lad, but the next side, I'm not sure. After Kwanzaa got sold to Leverkusen, you got all these options out of the club. Then you actually have to come in and absolutely solidify that. You don't want to make the same mistake. You got Arteta traumatized. You've got 5 center back options. Kiwior, Mosquera, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. You got to have that kind of options. You can't rely on an 18-year-old to come in and step up out of nowhere if one of your center backs get injured or a transfer happens. But anyways, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. Do you think Liverpool, need to go after a defender or pay big money for Isak? I understand they've been great with net spend, but with attackers, they're fine. It's really going to come down to defense. It's a long season, and you've got to play 3-4 cups, But genuinely, this is what they have to do.